All right. Is it on? Good, 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 good. Let me go ahead and start this live stream brought to you by Pepsi. Let me go ahead and start this video because for those who don't know, this is the YouTuber that is being discussed about a lot on social media. So I'm very curious. I'm very curious about this person. This person is an avid collector of manga and also has watched a lot of Yao themed animes like Descent to Darkness, which everyone knows about. Um, the one thing that kind of bugged me about her was she brought up Rojin Z. I've seen that anime before. The fact that she kind of gets creeped out about the sexism in that anime was funny. Um, you can tell her background says right here she her you can see she puts her pronouns in the bio. um she's mostly known on TikTok. I can't pronounce your name, Rimbuk. I can't really understand what to tell you, but I'll begin to talk about this now. She does read manga. She's an avid reader of manga. She actually has a collection of X mangas. I'm surprised by X99, which a lot of people don't realize that's a very rare manga to get. And she has Nana. And the thing is, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this because there's a video that she did several months ago. Her first video about this essay, the the commodification of magical girl video essay. Now, a lot of people are talking about her because they honestly disagree with her. I don't want to put this out there to attack her in any way. It's just please do not harass her if you disagree with her on anything like that, because I don't really promote that type of shit, and people think I do. And for some reason, people kind of look at me like I'm the supervillain on the internet. And yeah, a lot of people look down on me on like that and block me on Twitter. And they don't know me very well. I tend to tell people, look, I'm not that type of person, but a lot of people see me as this villain because of my association with certain people. And the fact is, guys, I'm not here to basically attack these people. Keep in mind, there are things out there that happen to be really funny, and I want to address this in a nicer way possible because of the fact that people have been getting upset with me on the internet over this stuff because it's weird. And their obsession with me was kind of funny. That's cool. Anyways, I just want to address this in a nice way possible because there's been a lot of people talking about this stuff, especially talking about her. And I want to address this in a nicer way possible because there are people that have this perception of me being the supervillain that I am on the internet. They think I'm going to kill them. Like, literally, like, they think I'm going to kill them. I'm not joking. They think I'm like RTK career killer. That's what they think. Because of my mistakes in the past, videos that I made on content creators, they think I'm literally going to murder them. Literally, kill their careers. This is not about killing careers. This is about pointing out that I'm just going to show you guys the content of this person, and you can decide for yourself if you honestly disagree with this person. But whatever you do, do not harass this person. There is people that like to make their own opinions on certain things, and that's kind of what I do. You're open to discuss these issues yourself if you want to. So I'm going to go back to this page. I'm going to go ahead and watch this video. So let's go ahead and react to this video in a nice way possible. I'm gonna try to be nice as best as possible because I understand people have a right to their public opinion on what they want to say about certain things. And personally, I'm gonna go ahead and watch this video and see what I think of it.
Magic Girls, we all know them, we all love them. At least if you clicked on this video, you probably love them. If not, you at least know of them. I would hope so. But if you don't, Magical Girls have been around since the 60s, inspiring young girls and women alike as a source of empowerment. Magical Girls fight crime and save the world, all while looking stylish and chic. Being hyperfeminine is often seen as a weakness, but popular shows like the iconic Sailor Moon showed that leaning into your feminine side is empowering, not degrading. Unfortunately, a lot of Magical Girl series now are catered towards the male gaze. That's never once happened in our society. Fragmented shots of their bodies while
Originally, a lot of people don't realize the original Sailor Moon had been censored, and a lot of people don't realize that's kind of what she kind of is pointing out. When I was a kid growing up, I watched the dub version, which is the censored version that they put out by Deke. The original version of Sailor Moon, where the transformation, they showed her completely naked. Now, I watched the fan sub version of Sailor Moon, and I didn't have a problem with that. The fact is, guys, Sailor Moon's been around longer than I can remember, and the problem that I have with this is that she thinks that everyone had the male gaze. When I first watched that series in the early mornings, when I was like at least, I think, 12 or 13, I watched the series thinking, oh, I thought Sailor Moon was a joke, and then suddenly I watched it. I actually liked it. But it wasn't because of the male gaze, it's because she was kind of like ridiculously absurd. And I kind of was just laughing my ass off because Usagi was kind of and the reason why she, from what I understand when I read the manga, Usagi was meant to be called Bunny originally. They thought, but instead they call I know in the English version they called her Serena, but the original Japanese version called her Usagi. I think it was Usagi, right? If I mispronounce it right, it was meant to say bunny. That's what it was. But she kind of thinks that we all watch it for the male gaze. Really, I thought it was just for the laughs, because Usagi was kind of a funny character who tries to get herself out of these situations by overcoming every obstacle that she goes through. Especially helps her friends out whenever they need help. But it kind of sucks when she thinks that everyone watches it for the male gaze, when in truth we kind of all relate to Usagi in some way, because and that's the main character of Sailor Moon. And a lot of people don't realize, like, she was the main character of the series that made her interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and continue.
Transforming, often done naked. Objectify the magical girl to titillate the male viewer, not to empower the woman viewer. Women are already so often objectified in anime. Why can't Magical Girls series be a safe place away from that? How did iconic shows tailored towards women, like Sailor Moon, turn into a site of male fantasies with shows like Cutie Honey and Madoka Magica? Anime series are often labeled according to their intended demographic. Magical Girl series typically fall under the label of shoujo. Shoujo literally translates to girl, thus naming the series' intended audience. There's also labeled Josie, which translates to woman or woman, thus labeling the intended demographic as adult woman. There are unfortunately aren't a lot of Josie Magical Girl series. The manga Magical Angel Creamy Mommy and the Spoiled Princess is one of the few Josie Magical Girl series. The Spoiled Princess is a sequel to the classic shoujo series Creamy Mommy, the Magic Angel. On the flip side, there is also shonen, which translates to boy, and seinen, which translates to young man or young men. Very popular magical girl series Madoka Magica can easily be misinterpreted as a Josie, considering its focus on female protagonists and adult darker themes. However, it's technically a seinen, as its intended demographic are young men.
Yeah, it's targeted because it had a really dark story. And I watched that series myself. It does have a sad ending, though. And watching that Madoka Magica Girls was a really interesting series because personally I never watched the series, but when I first I actually watched, I think, the OVA, not the TV series but the OVA itself, and the OVA movies kind of explained everything, even though I'm not technically sure if the TV series had everything. I know that there was like several like episodes of it, and I was like watching it. I think it was 12 episodes that I watched, and it was kind of sad to hear about this because of the fact, oh crap, the male gaze. Let's the otaku audience. Let's go into this.
A noteworthy amount of magical girl series fall under the demographic of shonen or seinen, with otaku culture as a key contributor. Otaku culture has been a lasting butterfly effect on the magical girl genre, playing a significant role in the commodification of the genre. But what is the otaku, and how have they greatly impacted the genre? Kumiko Saito and her
Chaos Head, oh boy. I watched that series myself. I actually liked it. It's based on a visual novel game series that they made for it, and they also made a manga for it too. And surprisingly, they still are making more Chaos Head, series of that thing, and I'm just like wondering what the hell. It's kind of like Chaos Head was kind of like another version of Steins Gate in a way, but it's not. It was basically a guy's all the stuff that was happening was kind of separating reality from fiction, and of course it kind of transformed. It kind of was a weird story, but describing the otaku ness of the culture, I think she probably thinks that the otaku culture is pretty bad because of the fact that guys are into these type of stories thinking they're bad. But the weird thing about it is she has a lot of the Clover, she has a lot of the RG, like I'm looking at her back, most of it is Clamp manga that she's collecting right here. Like I can see she has X99, she has RG Vada, she has like a lot of Clamp manga, and she also has Battle Angel Alita, which is not a Clamp manga. It's kind of weird what's going on, but looking at this is kind of like, yeah, this is kind of crazy. But you can clearly see what she's trying to do here. Like she has all these Clamp manga, legal drug and dope manga. Like wow, she reads a lot. She has like the Tokyo Pops stuff right here. Like X99 manga. She has a lot of mangas in her collection. Like no joke, a lot of the stuff that she has here is crazy. Keep in mind, a lot of guys liked the Clamp stuff because they're kind of entertaining and they have good storytelling. But a lot of people don't realize, oh, it's a female group of people who make manga. Yeah, they do, and they're really good at it, and no one really cares. because they were originally, they actually originally did the shonen, and they got famous, and then they decided to make Arjivata, which was the first ever OVA that they completely made. Clamp was basically very popular because they actually made a series that actually made sense. Arjivata became also an RPG too, which that dealt with a fantasy world that they were in, and I watched it. It was okay.
Frequently cited essay on the magical girl discusses the otaku audience, the rise in male viewers within the magical girl genre, or women, but usually men. The otaku audience has been around since the 80s. Otaku culture is typically characterized by being attracted to bisoujo characters or beautiful girl characters. Bisoujo later created moe, which means having a strong attraction and feelings for cute and young anime.
And that was like in the early 2000s, because I haven't heard the term moe since the early 2000s. That's when it became a big deal.
Manga and or video game characters. The term otaku is used differently in the West. It's used as a way to say that you're a die-hard fan of anime. You're more than a weeb, an average fan. You're an otaku, the top of anime fans.
Not really. Otaku kind of refers to a nerd. That's kind of an expert in that type of like history, because they actually explain what otaku means. It means you're, because I remember they labeled a girl otaku because she was into history, and I recalled this was on a report, on a news report. I can't remember which one, but I'm pretty sure they refer to otaku as a nerd who is all knowing of what they like. That's what it means.
However, the original definition of otaku is much, much different. Otakus take original material and make their own meaning out of it, usually fetishizing the material and characters in the process.
That's not what
Interestingly,
they don't fetishize it. What the fuck? Interesting. Otaku culture ties back to postmodernism.
Otaku culture ties back to postmodernism as it's a practice in reusing images and ideas. There's no new stuff happening in otaku culture. It's all recycled ideas and images. Otaku's reuse and fetishization of characters removes the character's central meaning and instead makes their importance based around visual cues. The otaku audience is attracted to what the characters imply. A bisoujo exposed woman implies that she's sexually available and easy. A moe young cute girl implies that she's innocent and too trusting. So when I say male gaze, in this context, I'm referring to men or women who participate in otaku culture, and I will be using it interchangeably with otaku gaze. How does this relate to magical girls? Animation.
And I thought there were people that do this too.
Studios found that creating magical girl series and characters that attract an otaku audience provide the studios profit. Doing so allows them to create and sell suggestive figures and merchandise, even if the scene is depicting does not actually happen within the series. A popular example of magical girl series targeted towards men is Cutie Honey. When the bisoujo character, Cutie Honey, fights and transforms, her clothes are often ripped off, thus interrupting the narrative rather than adding to it. Cutie Honey was so popular that it has had several spin-offs and remakes. Even though the original series debuted in the 70s, the
Gono no Guy kind of created that series just because he kind of enjoyed beautiful women.
otaku audience did not start to become noticeable to studios until the 80s. The success of Cutie Honey and a similar series that objectify women demonstrated to studios that accommodating to otaku audience rather than women provides them with profitable outcomes. So, sexualizing characters give money, not sexualizing characters and empowering women instead does not bring money. Some of the first magical girl series, such as...
I think she never watched that one show. Super Gals. That one anime is called Super Gals, where they do make an. It did all right in the 2000s. I actually liked that show for one reason, and it was interesting. Like, don't get me wrong, I like mecha anime, but I watched Super Gals, and that's an example of an anime that shows that you can have a character that's pretty over the top, but at the same time, you know, likable. Like, I actually liked it Super Gals for a lot of reasons because of the main character. Now, the issue that I have with this is that she probably never watched Super Gal, because that anime was actually pretty good. And I'll show you, for those who don't know what Super Gal is, like, I think it was Gals. Let me see if I can look it up, because I want to go ahead and show you guys something. Okay. Super Gal. It was Super Gals. This is the anime that most people don't realize exists. It's a comedy, but at the same time, it actually has like really good morals. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, Super Gals was a very popular anime in 2001 through 2010. It's a shoujo anime, teen comedy, and it not only tries to empower, it actually empowers girls if they actually watch that series, but it's actually kind of funny too. It lasted, I believe, let me see, how many episodes? 52. Jesus. And I do recall Wallflower was another one. Wallflower is another one that I thought was kind of funny. Oh yeah, Wallflower was kind of gay. So anyways, this is kind of what I feel like introducing people to Super Gals, because I think most people should watch that if they can't stand the sexualization of anime characters. I think they should watch this anime instead, because, like, look at it. It's kind of like moe mixed with a girl that is sassy and is also has an attitude and very strong character. But the problem is, not many people care for it. You know, they're just, you know, they don't watch old anime, because it kind of tells you how they feel about anime these days. They don't watch the anime that they only show the anime that they like, so that they got exposed to.
Creamy Mommy exemplified the belief that the magical girl's true goal becomes the eternal deferral of growth and their task to be just cute and young. Magical Girl series from the 70s and 80s focused on young, cute girls who use magic to turn into teenage girls. At that time, it was a common trope for the series to end with the magical girl giving up her magic, as she has realized that her true magic is her shoujo, aka her girlhood. Her adolescence is free of any obligations and expectations. She's not expected to get married, have kids, have a career, own a home. While denying adulthood is a rebellion against the expectations of women in Japanese society, focusing on the magic of childhood also highlights and encourages moe from the viewer, as young girls are now seen as the ideal. While series like Creamy Mommy are not directly explicit, they're full of sexual innuendos. I mean, like that title, Creamy Mommy. They also make use of the bank system. Bank system is the reuse of frames to help save money. This, again, goes back to postmodernism, just the reuse of images over and over again. Nothing new is happening here. In Magical Girl series, this technique is often used for the transformation sequence. This use of the bank system highlights the transformation of an innocent moe character into a seductive bisoujo character, thus appealing to the otaku gaze. So, we got moe, and then we got bisoujo. Boom, we got both parts of the otaku gaze in one.
The otaku gaze,
in
guys,
the OG Magical Girl series, like Creamy Mommy. It is important to note that both Cutie Honey and Creamy Mommy anime were made by men. Go Nagi created Cutie Honey, and Studio Parrot, which was founded by Yuji Nunakawa, created Creamy Mommy. Representations in popular culture created by and aimed at men have depicted girls as symbolic of modernity and changing mores, as alluring but dangerous and threatening to masculinity, the family, and to the nation itself. Magical girls reject modernity and therefore become a threat to men, as she has rejected marriage and a family. In response to this threat, animation studios took advantage of the otaku culture and created magical girls who are considered bisoujo and or elicit feelings of moe for male audiences. Portraying women for the otaku gaze takes away women's threatening power toward men, thus taking away her original meaning and changing her to just a source of voyeurism and pleasure.
The female gaze.
With otaku culture in full force, how did women take back the genre? The iconic series Sailor Moon played a strong part, as well as the cult classic Revolutionary Girl Utena. Sailor Moon didn't show up until the 90s, and when it did, it revolutionized the genre. The series popularized transformation sequences and created the standard of the magical girl power system. Sailor Moon changed the transformation formula to one of accessories and makeovers rather than physical change. Naoko Takeuchi, the author of Sailor Moon, and Toei Studios made hyperfemininity a positive rather than a negative. Hyperfemininity is often seen as a weakness. It's stereotypically used as a way to visually show that a woman character is not the brightest, she's not the smartest, not a lot going on in here, she's pretty. Sailor Moon flipped this stereotype on its head and made femininity empowering. As a woman, it is so awesome to see Sailor Scouts gain power from their jewelry and dresses. And I love jewelry and dresses, and they make me feel powerful. They make me feel so confident. So to see that represented with literal magical powers, love that. Iconic. Rather than looking down the Scouts for getting dressed up to fight crime, everybody looks up to them and sees them as heroes. This is illustrated in the diegesis, as within the show, it's canon that Sailor V has video games and movies about her, illustrating that people within the universe look up to the Scouts.
Yeah, known fact. Originally, Sailor V was the idea of Sailor Moon, because Taiguchi kind of created the one shot. I think it was like a manga for Sailor V, and then tries to mix into the universe of Sailor Moon, which I thought was kind of funny because a lot of people thought that was actually a good story. And Sailor V kind of became the preface of Sailor Moon, because it kind of mixed into that universe. Because originally Sailor V was her first story that she created, and then she decided to go over to the Sailor Moon, and Sailor Moon kind of hit it off. And then you find out that Sailor V was Sailor Venus, and I'm just like, that's crazy. Yep, that's how it happened. Because originally her manga was Sailor V was kind of the storyline to it, and you find out, yeah, she's Sailor Venus was Sailor V.
And idolize them. Additionally, Sailor Moon viewers look up to the Scouts as well.
Yeah,
despite the series premiering over 30 years ago, Sailor Moon merchandise, cosplay, museums can easily be found today. Sailor Moon's use of hyperfemininity is a rebellion against a stereotype that dressed-up women are dim-witted and unsuccessful. Revolutionary Girl Utena came out about 5 years after Sailor Moon's initial release. It's known for being a deconstruction of the magical girl genre by subverting common tropes and traditional gender norms.
It was a magical school. That's basically what it was, and they were dueling to the death. They were dueling to the death to seek the prize of the princess. That was the whole point of Revolutionary Girl Utena, and Utena decided to defend the princess because the princess was being abused and misused in a way that kind of made me you would be upset about. It's basically the whole protect the princess trope. Protect the princess with your honor. And it was basically a really good anime. Yes, I watched that anime too, and I even watched the movie. I didn't like the movie because the movie kind of like ended with no conclusion other than the fact that, oh yes, we got out of the school. We're together forever. And it was kind of like people were kind of like talking about this anime being that they were making fun of the gay stuff in there too, and I'm just like, yeah, because the guy basically created the movie to make everyone not judge it, and a lot of people kind of judged it the harsher way possible in an interview. Because I remember I bought the DVD. My friend bought the DVD, and I decided to buy the DVD, and we watched the documentary. And the creator of that anime wanted to create it to where he said he wanted to not make the audience judge the anime. And I watched it, I judged it, and I'm just like, okay, this is kind of weird, but okay, I get it. But it was a good anime for its time.
This series, while directed by a man, focuses on women's problems and encourages change around women's oppression. It follows Utena as she tries
by a man. She just created by a man. She doesn't even bother to name the guy.
Tries to save Anthony.
Let's look at the creator's name. Let's look at the creator's name. Revolutionary Girl Utena. I can't even believe I misspelled it. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay. Created by B. Papas. Production group founded by the anime director Kuniko Ikarawa. Okay, so the manga, I know that the manga was another one. Okay, the manga was by Chiho Soto, who was the manga artist noted for Revolutionary Girl Utena, and B. Papas was the original, which was like a random people who created like random group of people that created shows like that. So you can see right here they made this project just so they can make an anime out of it. Okay, he worked as a director on the anime series Sailor Moon, and a group created Revolutionary Girl and the 1999 film sequel, Adolescence of Utena, which it was actually a pretty good movie. Don't get me wrong, I watched it, but it was just not, the ending kind of really didn't really impress me.
Girl from a cycle of oppression and abuse. In Utena, Anthony wants to give up her magic, but the men around her force her to keep it and use it to revolutionize the world. What it means to revolutionize the world is different from character to character, but for Akio, the main antagonist, that means to reclaim his lost power and control. The series ends with Utena saving Anthony. Anthony loses her powers and Utena disappears from the world. Interestingly, this goes back to the early Magical Girl series, as those end with their magic being given up. While those series focused on elementary-aged girls, Anthony is in high school, and the series ends with her leaving the school grounds to go to the outside world, the adult world, to search for Utena. The true magic for Anthony isn't her adolescence, but rather her adulthood and freedom that brings her. The true magic for Anthony isn't her childhood, it's her adulthood, and how that represents freedom and brings her new life choices and opportunities that her childhood didn't provide her. For Anthony, adulthood means being able to choose her own path in life, whether she wants to get married or not, what career to have. Anthony's life choices were made for her during adolescence, but now as an adult, she is truly free. Anthony's magic comes from her womanhood, not her childhood. This goes against what early Magical Girl series did, because their true magic came from their childhood and they rejected adulthood. Revolutionary Girl Utena is just so iconic. Again, it's a deconstruction of the series, especially showed in the ending with Anthony's rejection of her childhood and wanting to move on to adulthood. This really helps to empower both sides of girls and young women. Utena is for older women, and it makes them feel comfortable and safe in adulthood.
Wasn't she wanted to become the prince? She wanted to become a prince when she grew up. She wanted to be that hero. She wanted to be that person that saved her from her own sadness. That she lost everything, and I recalled that anime for a while because she didn't want to be the victim anymore. She wanted to become the hero, and she became the hero. Okay, she did fight to free that person out of. She kind of did liberate her. That was the whole point of that anime. She liberated a person that was so scared of moving forward, of trying to get out of that situation, to basically tell people to stand up for yourself. That was the whole point of that anime. To stand up for yourself. And it was actually a pretty good message. But for some reason, people kind of twisted into feminism and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, she stood up for herself. That's the whole point of empowering women, is to stand up for yourself. But you turn it into something that's kind of like, okay, instead of having a career and all that other stuff, it's like, no, it's to stand up for yourself and try to move forward.
Knowing that not everything is going to be so horrible and bleak. They have their own choices they can make, and they will still have freedom, even if that freedom is different from the freedom that they had in their childhood. The struggles Anthony and Utena face are struggles that women face all around the world. Women are often viewed as threatening, but also desirable, and men mitigate that dichotomy by trying to control women. By defying Akio, rejecting the role of the past.
Here's the thing. Utena didn't really, control Anthony at all. Anthony controlled herself. She makes decisions to control whatever she describes, because the tournament, the whole duel was to point out, yeah, you win me, but at the same time, you don't get to take advantage of me. You don't do anything to me. But the whole point of it is to basically understand Anthony. By seducing her, even goes as far as dressing her as a princess, and confiscating her sword undermines her dream of becoming a prince. Utena basically is the prince, but she wanted to become the prince by defying Aiko, rejecting the role of passive princess, because a lot of people kind of believed in the theory that Anthony was the prince who saved Utena. A lot of people came up with that theory, but technically it wasn't. And according to queer theory, queer theory is a pseudoscience. They kind of I don't even know why they always use queer theory as an explanation to everything in anime, when all they do is just dissect everything by gender, and they explore that gender by sexuality, when sexuality has nothing to do with what was going on. But they just pretend like, oh yes, we need to do some anal sex on this side, on this theory. Yeah.
As a princess and struggling to free Anthony from her objectified role in the duels, Utena subverts the narrative assigned to her gender, refusing heterosexual primacy and tirelessly fighting for what can only be called feminist ends. This is seen through how Utena wears the boys' school uniform rather than the girls'. That's a rejection of the male gaze and the gender binary. Also seen through how...
No, she wanted to become the prince.
How she develops a career relationship with Anthony, a theme that is more overt in the retelling movie Adolescence of Utena. Utena and Nancy's relationship goes against the male gaze. They have labeled themselves as non-desirable for the otaku. Their visual cues are not for heterosexual romance. These actions from Utena, plus her final act of saving Anthony, is openly feminist as it encourages non-rigidity for magical girls and women. Utena acts as a warning. It shows the danger and harm of oppressing and objectifying women. Utena's encouragement for adulthood.
I don't really think that way, because really it doesn't really go that way. When I looked at that anime, it was more like, okay, Utena wanted to be a prince. She wanted to be the prince to save someone from being a bully or something like that, like being bullied by a person, and she did what she wanted. She did as she was intended to do. The fact that she cared about Anthony and the relationship they had together, it kind of shows the fact that they put on this show to basically display everything that Utena has done for Anthony, and Anthony basically just flat out, ignores everything. This is the type of stuff that males have to deal with. It is to find out, like, we do tend to do the same things that Utena has done to care about a person that we think is a good person, or we think that we deserve love. And sadly, that's kind of the interpretation that I see from this. That Utena is kind of like that type of character that represents not the male gaze, but the desires because that was the whole point. Like, the whole point of Anthony being the princess, the Rose Princess, was the fact that they all are fighting over her for the desires that they want to be. That was the whole point of the whole end of the world thing, the end of the world thing that happened was the fact that they wanted their wishes to come true for what was going on. They were all dueling for their wishes to come true. They all had desires, they all had things that they wanted. It wasn't like encouraging adulthood or everything like that. It was to basically work for it. They had to work for it to get where they want to go. Even if it meant losing it, they had to go and work for it. And some of them realize their mistake and their reasons.
Shows that adulthood in itself is magical in a different way than childhood. On the other end, Sailor Moon's hyperfemininity appeals to...
Here's the thing. There is an anime, Galaxy 999. I think that was like the train one. That explored youth. Same with Captain Harlock. It kind of explored the youth of growing up. That kind of was the whole point of that anime. And I remembered Kenny Lauderdale kind of discussed the issue about Captain Harlock was the patron saint of losers. The reason why he was the patron saint of losers because he lost the battle, but he continued on with the battle as a pirate, as a space pirate. And a lot of people kind of I somewhat kind of understood what he was talking about. The fact that everyone has a place in the world. Even if they are a otaku or a kid at heart, there's a place for them. There's a place for them. And he brings them along on the ship to come on the ship and fight for whatever the heck reason they have to fight for. And they go on a journey to basically discover that. And he basically, in the end, leaves them when it's all done and over with. And he goes on another trip to get more crew to join his merry men of battle whatever the heck is going on. And whenever he does it, he just leaves them because he knows that his job was done. He realizes, yeah, my job's done here. I hope you enjoyed the trip, man. I'm out. So I might see if you wanna come and find me again. You can sure as hell seek me out, because that was the whole point of Captain Harlock, was the journey of growing up, to grow and move forward, to cut all ties to whatever the heck you were dealing with, to move forward. That was the other thing that kind of surprised me about Captain Harlock.
The female gaze rather than the otaku gaze. The scouts' visual cues are hard to be misinterpreted as a sexual reading. Their changing jewelry and clothes are symbols of power and agency for women, not one of fetishization. And yeah, while the Utena transformations can be argued as sexual, it focuses more on the feminine side of things rather than her body. It focuses more on her nails getting painted and then immediately putting gloves on. But we know her nails are painted, and that is awesome. When my nails are painted, which they're not right now, I feel so good about myself. Utena critiques the early Bisoujo and Moe magical girls by going against gender norms and deconstructing the genre through the acceptance of adult.
Keep in mind, Moe came out in the early 2000s. It wasn't popularized. It wasn't popularized as you would expect it to be. Even though, yeah, the cute girl genre was kind of a thing in the 90s, but it wasn't something that kind of popped out of nowhere. Moe kind of did get popular in the early 2000s, but Adolescence of Utena didn't really do any of that. It was basically, we don't really judge, because the whole point of what the interview, if you watch the DVD of the interview with the animator and the creators, they basically said to not judge this. That was the whole point of it. They said not judge this anime.
Hood and the power of queer love.
The power of queer love.
This dichotomy of some series being for the otaku gaze, some being empowering for women, and few deconstructing the genre stayed the relative norm. That is until Madoka Magica came out. Madoka Magica is a long-lasting fan favorite series, and it has left a noticeable, seemingly everlasting change on the magical girl genre. Madoka Magica changed the game. It opened the door for magical girl series to explore darker aesthetics and grittier themes. It's applauded for being a deconstruction of the magical girl genre through its critique and subversion of the typical beats the genre follows. Most importantly, the first 2 episodes start off as a typical magical girl anime, but the 3rd episode ends with the main character dying by decapitation. This surprise twist of brutal, unforgiving violence is what the series is most known for. And it's also a seinen. So, yeah. Cater towards men, not women. Because women don't like violence, not at all. Not like there's a bunch of women who love the MCU and stuff. Anyways, Madoka Magica takes advantage of Moe. The characters' round faces portray them as cute, young, and innocent. Their character design is meant to draw affectionate feelings for male viewers, and the dark, gritty, battle action themes reference similar themes seen in popular seinen series. The success and impact the series have had has caused so many magical girl series to be made for men. Following series like Magical Girl Raising Project from 2016 and Wonder Egg Priority from 2021 draw inspiration from Madoka Magica with similar character designs and the surprise of brutal violence. Honestly, today, if there is a new magical girl series that is not explicitly shoujo or a sequel to a past series, I am expecting the surprise twist of like brutal violence. Like, it's not surprising anymore because everything does it. I would honestly be surprised if it was normal. I would be more surprised if it was normal. While new magical girl series aimed at girls and women are continuing to be put out, the popular and most accessible in terms of viewing ability and merchandise availability in the West are magical girls made for the otaku. Madoka Magica popularized contemporary magical girl series that are aimed at men rather than women. Despite the male...
Okay, the thing about the male gaze, here's the thing. I couldn't help but laugh at it because it was absurd. gushing over magical girls was actually pretty funny to me because it was just laughing at the fact, oh, this is an anime that basically trolls the lesbians into watching this. Like I said before in one of my reviews about it, I said that this anime basically trolls lesbians into watching magical girls getting into BSM. Like, no joke, it is. Like, this anime basically tries to troll lesbians into watching girls getting into BSM in a more absurd, because it is an absurd anime, and a lot of people may think, oh my god, a bunch of magical girls are whipping each other with whips and chains and leather, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. That's basically what it is, and you can't help but laugh at it because it's ridiculous. That's the reason why I liked it, because it was just so absurdly, ridiculously stupid. And people might think, oh, but you're sexualizing them. How dare you sexualize them? I don't really sexualize them in that way. There are characters that I do not sexualize in that anime. I basically kind of do like the fact that it's just absurdly comical. Not to be mean to people, but you guys tend to think everyone in the male... Not every male will sexualize it. You might not believe, but it's like everyone thinks, oh my god, these people are sexualizing anime girls. You guys are pedophiles. You need to die. I hope you die. And it's like, you get a grip. No one here wants to have sex with children, but you want to go ahead and try to assume everyone does. Get out of here. I liked it because it was absurdly funny. That's what Gushing Over Magical Girls was. It was absurdly funny.
Centered outcome of Madoka Magica's success, it's a beloved series that deserves its praise. The series' popularity illustrates that magical girls do not have to stay in the box of femininity with pink aesthetics and a more subdued violence. Audiences also like to see magical girls in brutal, action-packed situations. It's awesome to see a girl in a pretty dress in a guts and blood-filled action scene. It's awesome.
Here's the thing. I watched that series to know that they all had to die and of course start over again. That's how bad it was. Like, they had to start over. No matter how many times, because one of them had the power to go back in time. To basically avoid, like, it was kind of a sad story because the only girl that actually had the power was the main character. And she did successfully pull it off, but at the cost of losing lives. She wanted everyone to survive, and she wished everyone survived. Problem was, she only gets like one wish out of it.
Cannot deny that. Madoka Magica also has queer undertones, which ironically rejects the otaku gaze that the character designs elicit. Madoka's queerness allows the series to reach past the otaku audience and represent viewers who are part of a non-dominant, marginalized group. I don't believe the creators of Madoka Magica intended to create a ripple effect of male and otaku-centered magical girl series. Madoka Magica itself is pioneering in its feminist themes and representation despite its seinen demographic. Animation studios, unfortunately, jumped on the series' success with only profit in mind, and not any intention of art for art's sake. So, what does this mean for the future of the magical girl genre? And has it been lost to the male gaze? Magical Girl started as a source of empowerment for young girls and is now a source of a pleasure and fetishization for the otaku audience. With the success of Magical Girl series catered towards men, the genre is now founded on the expectation that the adult viewer has acquired a diachronic fan perspective to fetishize both the characters and the text meaning.
I swear to God, they always have to go with Seito Kimoko's pages 133, the magical girl metamorphosis, the magical girl anime challenges, the changing gender identities in Japanese society. They basically are sourcing it from a book to point out that yes, everything is a fantasization, but the fact that I'm gonna point out to people, there is something called queer sexualization or queer fetishization, because they always tend to think that it's okay to queer fetishization or queer sexualization, as they like to think they called it, because that new word kind of surprises me. Like, they did this to the Netflix version of She-Ra, wanting two girls to kiss and be like, haha, that's great. And then of course they also queer sexualized and most of these characters are underage. That's the weird thing about queer sexualization, is that they sexualized She-Ra, who's underage. They queer sexualized what was that other character from Voltron, the Defenders of the Universe cartoon series by DreamWorks? They queer sexualized that one character. I keep forgetting. It's that little kid, and they try to queer sexualize the gender of that character. I'm not joking. They queer sexualized or queer fetishized the characters in that anime, thinking that show is cool. But as far as I know, that's pretty much what I know, because they always try to say, oh, everything is a fetishization. Sure, but you guys in the queer side tend to queer sexualize and queer fetishize everything. Especially, we find out today, you guys are queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog. You guys think your queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog, thinking he's going to move fast for you in the bedroom, is one thing, but it just gets on my nerves when you guys do that shit.
It's expected for the otaku viewer to gain sexual pleasure from magical girls. Contemporary magical girl series use pre-existing knowledge viewers have on the genre to create new, titillating experiences. So, Madoka Magica used pre-existing knowledge of the magical girl genre to do that surprise brutal twist of Mommy dying in the 3rd episode. However, despite magical girl series often catering towards the otaku gaze, the grown-up feminine audience make their own positive representation out of the objectification. The female spectator enters in the polyamics of negotiation, exploiting textual contradiction to put into circulation readings that draw the text into female and/or feminist orbit. Adult women viewers make their own positive representation and/or enjoyment out of shonen and seinen magical girl series. There's endless fan art of Madoka and Homura in a relationship. Woman cosplays Cutie Honey. There's online forums of women viewers praising male-targeted series, and so much more. And yeah, I don't like how often Cutie Honey's clothes are ripped off during battle. And the camera angles are clearly meant for...
This is an example of queer fetishization. They don't care. There's also queer fetishization and queer sexualization of females that like to queer fetishization of characters. But that's what I call it. Queer fetishization or queer sexualization of characters. Because they like to make everything gay or lesbian or whatever the heck they think is sexually provocative of a non-binary character. They always have to come up with some sexualization for it. So here it is. Queer sexualization. Queer fetishization. 2 words that I had to come up with just so that they would stop calling people, oh, you're sexualizing. Guess what? You're queer sexualizing a character too. Don't try to pull that shit on me, you freaking idiot.
The male gaze, but at the same time, it is so awesome to see a woman so confident in her body and herself that being exposed does not stop her from fighting crime. And yeah, it is so frustrating. that more often than not, a new Magical Girl series is catered towards men. But I'm also glad that we're getting new Magical Girl content in general. If we weren't getting any at all, then that would mean there's very slim chances of actually empowering Magical Girl series to come out again. But we're still getting them. So I believe in the near future, there will be a new original Magical Girl series aimed towards women. And I'm talking like specifically anime. There are new Magical Girl series coming out that are targeted towards women, such as the manga Magical Girl Dandelion. The series is accessible to read in the West on the Viz app, but it's not getting the same amount of praise and promotion as other new shonen series. The cost of a subscription to Viz, a digital shoujo and josei manga library, is half as much as Shonen Jump, a digital library of shonen and seinen series. While I'm not complaining about the cheaper price, this does show that the mainstream popular audience desires male-centered stories more than women-centered stories. And this is most likely because the otaku audience brings in more revenue. So that's what the companies promote. And so that's what the mainstream audience is taught.
Yeah, because of the fact that I'm going to point out something. The isekai genre is very popular. There's also the fact there are a big fair share of stories that do tend, like, already there's one called I believe that it's a series about a mermaid that wants to eat a young girl, and it's actually a pretty interesting story. It's a horror anime, and I thought it was an interesting story because I thought, okay, I might as well watch it. I checked it out. I thought it was okay because basically it's a story about a girl who's dealing with a situation to where she's afraid that this mermaid is going to eat her up, and she's afraid that something bad will happen to her because this so-called mermaid is like literally getting close to her because she's also walking on land. And the mermaid's following her around in school too, because she notices that mermaid, and she recognized the mermaid and realized the mermaid is trying to, the mermaid wants to eat me. I forgot what the title was called, but it's an interesting anime that deals with a female, and it's a horror anime. But of course, you don't watch that. You assume everything is about queer representation with queer fetishization. Everything has to be straight male or something like that. It doesn't matter. If it gets an anime, it gets an anime. But already there's release of mangas that are getting highly promoted over others because of based on sales.
To like, you really have to go out of your way to find these series. A lot of people know about the Shonen Jump app. A lot of people do not know about the Viz app. You have to go out of your way to find magical girl shows on streaming services like Crunchyroll. Women-based audiences have been known to critique and push back against seductive shoujo merchandise. When a figure for the popular shoujo series Fruits Basket was announced with a clear line of sight of the protagonist's skirt, why would you do that to my girl? Leave her alone. Oh my god. So yeah, when that was announced, fans were obviously very angry. That's not what the show is about at all. It's not an ecchi. There's no fan service in the show. It does not just interrupt the narrative with shots like that when you're reading or watching it. So why would they make a figure like that? And fans were so angry and openly objected that they got the company to redo the design.
It's the exact same design. It's the exact design of what she dresses like. That's how she dresses. And they're getting mad? That's retarded. Like, these people, whoever these people are, should not be near anime figures and should not be buying anime figures, period. Because they cannot deal with the difference between reality and fiction. It's the exact same character. They got the company to redo design, okay? So you got upset over the figure having a shorter skirt when her skirt is that size, that length, and you look at it like, DM us if the skirt issue We support a refund in 3 days purchase. Like, at least they're nice enough to give you a refund, bitch.
So why do I bring this up? Shoujo and Josie series don't attract otakus, and therefore that means they make less money and get less promotion. When they do try to promote to the otaku audience, like with that figure, for example, they failed. People were angry, people fought back, and they had to change it, or else they weren't going to make sales to begin with. But unfortunately, that means since we fight back against that, they just stop making things for us. I love capitalism. All of that, it causes magical girl series for women to tend to go unnoticed by the mainstream market. And it feels like the genre is slowly dying with less series and merchandise coming out. I would love to see women-targeted magical girl series to be as equally as popular as battle shonen, like One Piece. Like, can we please have a magical girl series on the front page of Crunchyroll rather than always being shonen and seinen? I would also love to see a new shoujo or josie series that goes back to the magical girl roots. Less violence, more friendship and romance. So I don't need military, brutal violence, blood and guts. No, I want something like Sailor Moon, but that's not Sailor Moon. So yeah, I want a new shoujo or josie series that is new, rather than another spin-off or sequel series of a previous magical girl series. I want something new, I want something original. Media in general is not really doing that right now, and people are tired of that. But I feel like magical girls specifically are just constantly getting either for men or just a sequel or a spin-off of a previous franchise. I want a new franchise. Magical girls are a fun escape from reality that also simultaneously represent women experience that are based in reality. They deserve the same amount of love and praise as popular shonen. The anime industry needs more women-based media. I don't think we're asking for too much here. I want a new magical girl series like Utena. I want a new magical girl series like Sailor Moon, but I just want it to have similar themes and similar tropes and similar aesthetics, but a new story. Yeah, I love magical girls, and we need more that are for women. And that's how they started, and that's how it should end.
They have the slice of life animes that they just released, and I don't know why they don't watch those. And yet there are animes that just been recently released that feature women, that have main protagonists that are women. And the problem is, I don't know why she has this issue with this whole issue when they bring up marginalized groups, for example, or any other freaking word salad that they come up with. I hate to tell them this, but there is some animes that are recently released, but they're not from Biz. They're not from, but there's several anime companies that do make series that are female centric, but the problem is no one watches them, and that's the problem. They don't praise the certain animes that get to be out there and watch them, and it's or they never heard of them because some of them kind of have content that they don't like, and that's the biggest issue.
Things can be from women and marginalized groups.
So this is the thing that I'm gonna point out to you guys, because this is the reason why the conversation about anime is kind of crazy. I know that people kind of see anime as the medium to go to, and I get it. I've been through it too, because I went through it when I was a kid. But there's a lot of old animes I like to watch. Yeah, hey, they're not saving kids. I know. They're not saving the kids at all. And I'm just telling everyone about this because I'm just making this episode. It's a short episode that I want to do because my reaction to this character, to this content creator, I don't think she's a bad person.
Magic girls.
Really, Rimbuk basically is trying to explain to everybody via the feminist lens of postmodernism, post ideology, which is kind of what I hate about these so-called essay essays that they make. And watching that anime, Shiny, I can only tell you this. It sucks when we have to deal with the genre of people that talk about these animes. Okay, if you want to show an anime that's really good, there is one anime that I like. It's a female empowered anime where basically they abuse the male. Resurrection Princess. You can watch that one. Because it doesn't have like the sexualization of characters in there as much as you would believe. But okay. But as far as I know, that's pretty much it. Let me see. What else is there that we could watch that could be entertaining for the whole fan base? Hey, Shiny. They're not saving the kids. They're saving themselves. They're saving the insanity. Queer fetishization of Sonic fandom. Like, I'm not joking. This does they are queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog. The queer fetishization is absolutely crazy. They queer fetishize they fetishize the queer. Yeah, the sex cult worships a video game character in the most disturbing way possible by moving faster. Yeah, because I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, because the queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog is crazy. Like, I'm sorry, and I hate to put this out there. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, because I want to address this in a nicer way possible. The queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog. I should make that. I should make that into a video. The queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog is crazy. That they believe Sonic the Hedgehog can do it faster than lightning, because they think that in the bedroom, Sonic the Hedgehog is absolutely the way for them to explore their sexuality. They think that Sonic the Hedgehog is literally the only way to explore their sexuality in the fastest possible way possible. It is so ridiculous. It's so funny that I can't believe they did this. The queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog. At this point, they might as well just tell people this whole issue, because all they're doing is nothing but trying to tell everyone, oh yes, you're queer, you're sexualizing a character, which is wrong, and I'm gonna have to tell you guys you're wrong. Like, look, let's face the reality. People are gonna sexualize whatever they want. It doesn't matter who or what it is. You know, they're gonna sexualize whatever they want to. But this is kind of weird. The queer fetishization of Sonic the Hedgehog is crazy, and they believe Sonic will do it faster. We'll do it faster in the bedroom. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here because I realize, people have issues, and I want to be absolutely nice about this. Please do not attack this person. I honestly kind of disagree with her, because sometimes when they go into the whole postmodernist aspect of anime, and also the fact that they go into this whole, feminist theory and queer theory, it kind of gets into this whole issue of the ideology that they have is wacky as hell, and honestly it does not go into reality. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. You have a good day, and Shiny, thanks for coming. You take care, man, because I gotta get off. That's it. Bye bye. Because I'm just doing my own reaction of this. I know that you wanted to get on, but thank you for coming, man. Take care. Bye bye. I'm just making this for content's sake. But you guys take care. Bye bye. All right, I'm out.